I had the opportunity to test the new Leica M6 camera. Welcome back everyone to another episode, and today we're not going to talk about watches, we're actually going to talk about my recent trip to the Leica headquarters and to their celebration of photography festival. At this point, I'd like to say thank you to Bernhard especially and the whole Leica Austria team for taking the watch guy, namely me, to a camera and photography event. And this couldn't have been more different than the things that I usually do. It could not have been any different or more different from the cameras that I actually use, because this year marked the relaunch of the M6, an analog camera. I have never shot pictures with an analog camera before. If you leave the disposable cameras by side, I've never used a proper camera that utilizes film. It was quite the experience, to say the least. Please do bear with me, because I need to state at this point that I am by no means a professional photographer or anything like that. I'm a mere enthusiast and amateur. I do videos like these that you're currently watching, take a couple of wrist shots of my watches and watches of other people. So that's basically it. This experience with the M6 definitely expanded my horizon, to say the least. Before we dive into my experience and me handling the camera, actually, let's talk a little bit about the camera itself. The new M6 basically is a relaunch of the old M6. There are some minor adjustments, some technological improvements, but nothing major to note here. We have some improvements on the viewfinder and things like that, but that's about it. It's an analog camera that utilizes film, very minimalistic, very classic Leica style. From what I understood, that's it. What I did find a bit interesting is the fact that instead of moving forward, Leica made a move backward. They introduced an analog camera when everything is moving towards digitalization. This is very, very interesting to me, because this means that, first of all, Leica is very aware of the fact that there are a lot of fans of analog photography. They really wanted to do something for these fans. And I think that this, again, will in turn be a benefit for Leica, because nobody else, at least to my understanding, is doing analog cameras. After the presentation of the camera, we had the opportunity to actually try it out and work with it. And this was done in a studio environment on the Leica headquarters. They have a full-fledged studio there, and we were allowed to try out the camera with the new lens and with a film of our choice. So I have never done this before, and I heavily relied on my friends that were with me that have had previous experience in shooting. And so I got a quick crash course on what to do, and then I was set up with 36 pictures and a couple of minutes to do that. And let me tell you this. The experience was super interesting, very intense for someone like me that doesn't have huge experience in photography, but so rewarding. I actually expected my pictures to turn out really, really bad, but see for yourself. Some of them actually really turned out to be quite nice. And one or two of the pictures of the cars, I will definitely hang up in my apartment, because it was so much fun to shoot analog. I did not expect this, but it was so much fun. I enjoyed the process. It was so minimalistic. The approach was so reduced to just these 36 pictures and the subject that you're gonna shoot. There was no fiddling around, there was no preview, no edit, nothing. And this is something that I really, really enjoyed, this simplistic approach to photography, to capturing a moment, an emotion, to yourself as well being in this moment. Honestly, I did not expect that, but it actually made me start being more creative in what I do. It made me take more pictures intentionally than I used to. Not snapping a quick snapshot from something, but actually intentionally grabbing a picture, thinking about it, taking the shot. During the process of handling the camera and seeing the presentations, I asked myself, for whom did they create this particular camera? And while I already said that I really appreciate what they're doing in terms of not actually pushing digitalization, but actually moving a bit backwards in terms of creating a camera that's analog for their core community, I asked myself as well, is this a camera for me? In this process of asking myself this question, I really had a hard time answering it. But in the end, I think for me, on a daily basis, this would not be a camera that I would use. I'm not there yet. I'm not that heavily invested into capturing these moments. I think I might get there at some point. I think that what this camera does and what analog photography does, it sparks creativity, and it did this for me. I started taking more pictures intentionally and having more fun in doing so. Overall, I'd say that this was a fantastic trip. I met great people. I had the chance to meet Joe Greer, who is an ambassador for this camera, an awesome dude. Shout out to him. I had the opportunity to get a look at the factory and the museum and everything at the Leica headquarters, and it was truly amazing. I really enjoyed my time there. So big thanks again to Bernhard for inviting me actually. That's all I have to say on the new camera. I'd like to know your thoughts. What do you think about this new camera? Is analog photography that something that you like or that you're looking into? Or do you think digitalization is the only way forward? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for this video. I really enjoyed it, and thank you again to everyone involved. Have a great day, and as usual, if you feel like it, put a thumbs up. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.